It's the Daily Dog.
Hey y'all, welcome back to the Daily Doug. Thanks for being with me today. Y'all, today is Memorial Day in America, so we are commemorating this holiday on today's episode where we pause and we give thanks and appreciation to the sacrifices made by our military servicemen and women who sacrificed their lives for the betterment of our country. So it's a big weekend here in America, a big holiday, and it always poses an issue with, okay, how do I handle that on the channel? It's a Monday, so that's normally a metal Monday, but do we do a metal song on Memorial Day? Like, how do we handle that? So last year, I actually went away from our Metal Monday genre on Memorial Day, and I listened to a piece by Edward Elgar, and it was his Lux Aeterna, which is a choral setting, an adaptation of his pretty famous Nimrod variations, and we listened to a recording of it by the wonderful British choral ensemble Voces 8. And it was soothing, it was beautiful, it was just what I needed last year. This year, I'm going back to the metal sensibility, y'all, but we will be hearing a ballad by a metal and hard rock band. The song is going to be 1916, and the band is Motörhead. I have not reacted to any of Motörhead's songs on the channel before, so I am happy to finally include them on the channel, although this is going to not be a prototypical Motörhead tune. I haven't heard it yet, but I've read through the lyrics, and I think it's going to be just right on point for the message and the meaning of the day. So I am happy that y'all are here. Motörhead is a British rock band, and they formed back in 1975, and they were formed by bassist and lead vocalist Lemmy Kilmister. So Lemmy had been a member of the band Hawkend from the early 70s, or in the early 70s, and he then joined up with guitarist Larry Wallace and drummer Lucas Fox to form their power trio. And many people consider Motörhead one of the important precursors to the new wave of British heavy metal that would happen in the 80s. Members of Motörhead came and went, but Lemmy was the consistent and the constant voice and presence in the band, and he also serves as the band's main songwriter. So 1916 is the title track from Motörhead's ninth album. It was released in 1991, and it is a reflection on soldiers who fell during the Battle of which one? The Battle of the Somme, and this is during World War I. And about this, he said this in his memoir. 1916 relied heavily on keyboards, which was very different for Motörhead. I wrote the words before the music. It's about the Battle of the Somme in World War I, where 19,000 Englishmen were killed before noon. Unbelievable. He says, a whole generation destroyed in 3 hours. Think about that. It was terrible. There were 3 or 4 towns in northern Lancashire and South Yorkshire where that entire whole generation of men were completely wiped out. Yeah, apparently Lemmy was a big history buff, and he was led to write this, and so I'm looking forward to listening to it. We've got Lemmy on lead vocals and the bass. I don't know how active the guitars are in the song, but Phil Wizzo Campbell is on guitars, and so is Michael Wurzel Burston. Phil Filthy Animal Taylor is on the drums, and they have James Hoskins on the cello joining them for this song. Lemmy says that it relies heavily on keyboards. I couldn't figure out in my read-in who is playing the keyboards. So that I don't know, but I am anxious and eager to listen to this one. So this is Motörhead with 1916. Off we go. Yeah, so there's the organ, and that's B flat major, I think.
16 years old, when I went to the war to fight for a land fit for heroes.
And listen to his voice.
God on my side and a gun in my hand, chasing my days down to zero.
God on my side, a gun in my hand, chasing my days down to zero.
And I fought, and I bled, and I died.
Military
and I
trauma.
never did get any older. But I knew at the time that a year in the line was a long enough life for
I knew at the time that a year in the line was long enough for a soldier. How poignant this is.
We all volunteered and we wrote down our names.
That goes down to the 5,
And we added
down to 4,
2 years to our ages.
back to 1. Basic chords, y'all.
Eager for life and ahead of the game, ready for history's pages.
Ready for history's pages.
And we brawled and we fought and we hoard till we stood 10,000 shoulder to shoulder. Athirst for the Hun, we were food.
Love that little counter melody in the background.
And that's what you are.
We were food for the gun, and that's what you are when you're soldiers. This is breathtaking, friends. It's got metal sensibility. I can tell that they're just restrained and really poignantly presenting this for us. The cello is a wonderful choice. I think that's 2 cellos over double tracked.
I heard my friend cry, and he sank to his knees, coughing blood as he screamed for his mother. And I fell by his side, and that's how we died, clinging like kids to each other.
Can you imagine?
And I lay in the mud and the guts and the blood, and I wept as his body grew colder. And I called for my mother, and she never came, though it wasn't my fault, and I wasn't to blame. The day not half over, and 10,000 slain.
1,000 slain.
And now there's nobody
I love that sound.
remembers our name.
There's nobody that
And
remembers
that's
our names.
how it is for us all.
The strings come in and accompany them to the end. Is that how it's going to end? How breathtakingly beautiful was that? I'm surprised that they got to me that emotionally in a song that simple. But I've heard some Motörhead, y'all. And that's not how Lemmy normally sounds. They're normally quite aggressive in their sound. That was like a funeral march. And how appropriate, right? As a funeral march. There's no chorus here either. There's just 3 verses. And as I read through the lyrics, it's got this triple meter in them. I heard my friend cry as he sank to his knees. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. It makes sense that they would pick a slow triple meter to set text like this. Lemmy mentioned that he wrote the text first. And I can only imagine. Verse 3, I heard my friend cry as he sank to his knees, coughing blood as he screamed for his mother. And I fell by his side, and that's how he died, clinging like kids to each other. Wow. Y'all. It was just the 3 chords. You know, it's in B flat major. And by the way, y'all, major key and a sad, sad song. All major chords. All major chords. So you don't need a song in a minor key to make a song sound sad. In fact, in my experiences, songs that are sad songs that are put in major keys just slay me. And there's just something about the way the harmonies work. I don't get it. I don't understand it, but that's how it works, y'all. But they had that little change in that last verse. Did you hear that? Where they went to flat 7, it goes B flat down to F, 1 to 5. And then before it goes to 4 in that last verse, it goes to flat 7, that A flat. And that's a switch, a chromatic switch. It's the flat 7 chord, right? So the F has an A natural in it, and then it flips in that next chord, and it goes down to A flat before it resolves down to E flat, and then it finishes the phrase. A really great touch to just up the poignance, the level of poignancy. I don't know what the word is there in that last verse, and it really brought it home without ever having to do anything different, really. A couple of a little bit more in the cello lines and then the strings, and then it just brings it home. 10,000 slain, and now there's nobody that remembers our names, and that's how it is for a soldier. An unbelievable song. I'm so happy that we decided to go with this one. It was a real difficult choice. There's lots of options around this, but this is one where the sensibility, I think, specifically, kind of really matches with what we're commemorating on Memorial Day. The album was seen as a sort of comeback and a renaissance for Motörhead at the time. It received great reviews from both critics and fans. The album was nominated for a Grammy for Best Metal Performance, but it lost out that year to Metallica's Black Album. So that's the time frame that we're talking about when this came out. Sadly, none of the members, the original members, are still with us. The band was officially disbanded in 2015 when Lemmy died of congestive heart failure and prostate cancer. And by a couple years later, all of the original members had passed on. But their legacy, I think, lives on. They spawned and were leaders for the whole new wave of British heavy metal movement. And by the time they were done, they had 23 studio albums, 10 live recordings, 12 compilations, and 5 EPs over a 40-year career. They put the work in, and I can't wait to get to more from them. There's a real authenticity I get when I hear Lemmy sing and play, and when I hear this band. And I thought it couldn't have really highlighted the emotions that I'm feeling on this particular day any better. So a Metal Monday, yes, but a subdued and a vulnerable Metal Monday with that metal sensibility, where we're tying into the importance and the poignance of the sacrifice of these soldiers, whether they be, from World War I or World War II or any conflict that has happened. These folks put their lives on the line, and we thank them for their sacrifice. So thank you all for being with me on this Memorial Day edition of Metal Monday on the Daily Doug. It's a little bit of a different episode, but this was what I needed today. So thanks y'all for being with me, and we will see you next time on another edition of the Daily Doug.